have discussed about the um, basis of classification in animals, and we have done how the animals are classified, on what basis, cellular organization we have done. We have done about the symmetry, we have done about the body cavity. So all these we have done last time, and the division of the body into segments, segmentation, external division and internal division we have done. We have done about the circulatory system. We have done about the digestive system. So, and also habitat is also one of the factor. And then reproduction is there, that we have not done last time. Reproduction, some organisms reproduce sexually, some organisms reproduce asexually. And also we have to know about their larva, direct development, or they will hatch from the egg. That also we will discuss today. And before discussing, now we will enter into the main classification of the organism. And we have a major group of nine invertebrates, or the nine non-chordates, we can say that. And beside nine invertebrates, or the non-chordates, we have one phylum, that is Hemichordata. So let me write down the names of all invertebrate phylum now, and after that we will discuss one by one. So on the blackboard, I just write down the invertebrates. Okay, invertebrates we have to discuss. Okay, so these invertebrates are, we can just write down in the copy. You write down in the copy, all of you. This is the different phylum, PHYLUM, phylum. Okay, phylums are, see, Porifera. Okay, Porifera. I'm writing in the capital letter. You can write in small letter also. Porifera. And second one will be Solentrata. Okay, Solentrata. And the third one will be Ctenophora. Okay. Third one will be Ctenophora. Okay, then we have the Platyhelminths. Okay, we have the Platyhelminths. Then we have Aschelminths. 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 Okay, then we have, after Aschelminths, we have Annelida. Then we have Arthropoda. Okay, then after that we have the Mollusca. Okay, Mollusca. Then we have Echinodermata. Then we have Hemichordata. Number 10. We go to the Hemichordata. Okay. Hemichordata. So here, number 1, Porifera number 1, Solentrata number 2, Ctenophora number 3, Platyhelminths, Aschelminths, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Hemichordata. So now we have to study here 10 phylums. Okay, Porifera is here, then Solentrata, then Ctenophora, then Platyhelminths, then Aschelminths, then Annelida, then we have Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata. So one by one we have to study the characters. And in characters, you have to study according to we have done in the basis of classification. Okay, the body symmetry and all this we'll do. So we'll start with the Porifera. Okay, first of all, we'll start with the Porifera. So, if you have written, all of you, okay. So We'll start here with number one, that is the porifera. Porifera mainly we will include here sponges. Sponges. Porifera we are going to include here sponges. Mainly we go to include the sponges. Okay. Porifera, they are commonly called as sponges also, right? And if you look at the porifera, we find that the all the porifera are, they have marine habitat. We have to start with the habitat. Any phylum we go, we have to start with the habitat where they are living. Okay, so habitat is here. Habitat will be marine habitat. Marine habitat. Okay, habitat will be marine habitat. You can see the structure of the porifera. That is cycon. We can see the structure of the porifera. This is called as the cycon. Okay, this is called as the cycon. Okay, and the cycon is here. This is spongia, and here this is spongilla. Okay, these are the three example of the sponges. Okay, so habitat is marine habitat they have, and then we go to the cell organization. Cell organization, they have the multicellular. They are multicellular. Okay, they have a multicellular cell organization. Okay, multicellular cell organization, or we can say that they have a multicellular level of organization in the body. And the most important thing is that they have a canal system in the body. Okay, they have a canal system. This is very important. It comes in the exam also, even in the competitive exam also, NEET exam also, or any other competitive exam. The canal system is very important. You see that sponges, they have the multicellular level of organization, but they don't have any organ system. They don't have digestive system. Okay, they don't have digestive system. They don't have excretory system. So therefore, the digestion, the respiration and excretion will be done at the cellular level and not at the organ level. Okay, so they have one important system called the canal system, and in the canal system, the water enter in the body through the numerous holes found on the wall of the body, side wall of the body. Suppose I draw here canal system. Okay, so suppose here, okay, this is a sponge. Okay, this is a sponge here. This is a sponge. Suppose we can say that, and here we find there are the pores in the wall of the body. Okay, these are the pores are there, and these pores are double layer. Okay, double layer here also. Okay. So this is called, these holes are called small pores. Everywhere these are the pores are there, and these pores are called the ostia. Ostia. Through these pores, actually water will enter. There is entry of water in the body. Okay, water will enter through these pores in the body, and inside the cavity of the body is called a spongocoel. This is called as the spongocoel. And in the wall of the body, there are minute pores are there, ostia, and after the ostia, there is also one special kind of cells. These cells are called as guanocytes. So here in this part, I'll show you. Okay, 1 minute. In this part, we have a structure called as choanocytes. If you look at the choanocytes, will appear like this. This is the structure of the choanocytes. So this is the structure of the choanocytes. If I show you here, okay, this is the structure of the choanocytes, and this is called as our flagella. Flagella. So this kind of cells are present on the wall of the sponges. And in the wall, there are minute pores called as or ostia. These all are ostia, okay? And the space inside the body is called the spongocele. And the upper space is called as osculum. Okay, this is called as osculum. So here we find that water. Okay, water will enter in the body through the ostia. Through the ostia, then ostia are found in the body wall. They are found where? In the body wall. Okay. And then from the ostia, water will go into the spongocele. It goes where? Into the from the ostia, it goes into spongocele. Okay. This is the central cavity, we can say. Spongocele is the central cavity. This is the central cavity, we can say. And from central cavity, it goes into the osculum. Okay. From here, okay, then it goes into the osculum. So osculum, and from osculum it goes out. Okay. So this is the canal system. This is very important in the exam. Any exam you appear, but they will ask you about the canal system in the porifera. Okay. So here with the water, they will the water will bring oxygen gas. Water will bring the minerals, and oxygen will be taken by the cells during respiration, and the minerals and the other food material are digested inside this cell. That's why the digestion is intracellular. Okay, now after that we move to this is canal system. If somebody will ask you the canal system, you have to say that water enter into the ostia. Ostia are the minute pores in the body wall, and from ostia it goes into spongocele, and from spongocele is the central cavity. From spongocele, water will move outside, known as osculum. Okay, and here inside there are the choanocytes are there in the wall of the body. These choanocytes have the flagella. And movement of the flagella, okay, help in the movement of the water current. Okay, movement of the water current. Now, so okay, now after that, okay, now we go to the you see digestion. Digestion is I have told you it is intracellular. Digestion is intracellular. That means digestion will take place inside the cell. Okay, digestion takes place inside the cell. Oh, that's why the digestion is intracellular. Okay, then after that we go to, there is a skeletal system in the body, and this skeletal system made up of the spicules. Spicules are the soft bone or the fibers, or they are called as the spongin fiber. Body is supported by a skeleton. If you look at the body of the sponges here, it is supported by a network of the fibers. Okay, and these network of the fibers are called as spicules. These are called the spicules, or this is called as the spongin fiber. It's called as the spongin fiber. Okay, and this is the skeleton. This is the skeleton in the sponges. So skeleton consists of the spicules or our spongin fiber, right? Okay, then about uh, okay, we go to the sexes. Now, sexes are not separate. Are not separate. That's why they are hermaphrodite. They are hermaphrodite. Okay. Sexes are not separate means in the sponges both male and female sex organs are present. That's why they are hermaphrodite. Eggs and sperms are produced in the same individual. Hermaphrodite means the eggs and sperms, okay, are produced in the same animal. Okay, eggs and sperms are produced in the same animal, and then fertilization is internal. Okay, see here, fertilization is internal. Fertilization, if you go, it is fertilization is internal. Fertilization is internal, and development is indirect, having a larval stage. There will be no direct development, like from egg to egg will hatch into the adult, not like that. Development is indirect. That means there is a larval stage which is morphologically distinct from the adult. Development, we can say it is indirect. Development is indirect, and this larva, these are morphologically distinct. Morphologically distinct from adult. Okay, morphologically distinct from the adult. You have to know that. Morphologically distinct from the adult. Okay, so this is all about the sponges. Then example, we can say that cycon and spongilla. Example of the sponges are cycon and spongilla. Spongilla, these two are the example of the spongilla. Okay, these two are the example of the sponges. Okay, so now here we have done the sponges. They are marine. Okay, they are marine, and they have a cellular level of organization. Cellular level means multicellular level of organization. They have a canal system in the body. Canal system, the water will move through the ossia or the pores on the side walls known as ossia. From ossia, it goes into the spongiocele. From spongiocele, water will move into osculum, then out. And this main function of the canal system is, I have not told you, main function of the canal system is food gathering, respiratory exchange, and removal of waste. Okay, this you just write down there somewhere in the copy. Main function of the canal system. Okay, so here what is the main function? main functions of, okay, functions of canal system. Okay, you see that functions of canal system. What are the main functions of canal system? Functions are, you see, food gathering. Food gathering. Okay, water will bring the food. Okay, food gathering. Then also it has the function like the respiratory exchange of gases. Respiratory exchange of gases, and also respiratory exchange of gases, and also removal of the waste. Removal of waste. Okay. Removal of waste. So these three are the main functions of the canal system. Student, please write down in the copy. And after that, this phylum, we'll go to another phylum, that is Solentrata. Okay, Solentrata will go now. Okay. Solentrata or Schneiderian. This is also called as Schneiderian. Okay, Solentrata. Or we can say that it will be Schneiderian. Okay, phylum Solentrata or Schneiderian. Okay, Schneiderian, this phylum Solentrata, if we go, these are the we can say the, okay, you have seen the Hydra, I think, Hydra Solentrata, Hydra you have seen. So the Hydra is a Solentrata. Okay, the body of the Hydra, if you go, it will be like this. Okay, the Hydra. Okay, these are the tentacles, and this is called as the Hydra. Okay, these are the tentacles, and they will come under the class Solentrata. Okay, so if you go to Solentrata, Solentrata are mostly, if you go to the habitat of the Solentrata now, if you go to the habitat of Solentrata, habitat, all of them, they are mostly marine. Okay, mostly they are marine. They're found in the seawater. Okay, mostly marine, and they are sessile. Sessile means they will attach themselves on a substratum. Okay, sessile means they will attach just like the Hydra. No? Sessile means attach themselves. Okay, attach themselves on a substratum, or they are free swimming. Okay, free swimming. That will come later on. Fish. What is the other name of the free swimming? Okay. They have the word Solentrata has derived from Cnidaria. The animals, they have a cell called as cnidoblast. Okay, these cells are called as cnidoblast. This is called as these cells are called as cnidoblast. Okay, they're called as this cnidoblast. From the name cnidoblast, the word cnidaria has been derived, and cnidoblast is a protective cell. If any enemy comes in the seawater to destroy them, this cnidoblast will produce a slimy liquid, and this slimy liquid will make the whole water as a turbid water. Okay, enemy, they cannot locate the Solentrata in the marine water. Okay, so the word Cnidaria On this word, we can say that is Cnidaria. Solentrata means they have a cell in the body. Okay, so now habitat is mostly marine. They may be sessile, attached to themselves on some substratum, just like the Hydra. It will attach on the substratum. This will be the substratum. Okay, and this is the Hydra here. Hydra attach themselves on some substratum, and some of them are free swimming also. Okay, and now after that we go to they have the tissue level of organization. Okay, this if you go to the body organization with tissue level, they have a tissue. Okay, cells are joined together to form the tissues, and they are diploblastic. Okay, they are diploblastic means they have the two layer of this cell. They have ectoderm and endoderm. We have done that day. So they are diploblastic animal. They have the ectoderm and endoderm. Okay, and they have okay. We have the mouth is called as this is the mouth. No, suppose we go to the mouth, Solentrata. Okay, you see the mouth is called as hypostome. If you go to the Hydra here, the Hydra, suppose, okay, this is the Hydra. So here, yeah, these are the tentacles. Okay, these are called as the tentacles, and here the mouth is called as the hypostome. Hypostome. Mouth is called as the hypostome, and digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. Okay, this we can say mouth is called as hypostome, and if you go to digestion, it is both intracellular and extracellular also. Because here you see in the Hydra or any other Solentrata, there is a cavity inside. Is called as gastrovascular cavity. Okay, this is called as our gastrovascular cavity. So digestion sometimes takes place inside the cell also, and sometimes outside the cell in the gastrovascular cavity. Okay. Then they have okay. Some of these Cnidaria, just like we can say the corals. Okay, we can say the corals, corals. Okay, these are the corals. They will remain attached with the substratum of the rock. So they have a peculiar type of the skeleton, and this skeleton is composed of the calcium carbonate. Skeleton in coral, skeleton is composed of the CaCO3, calcium carbonate. That you have to know that in some of the cases, like in corals, the skeleton is made up of the calcium carbonate. Okay, calcium carbonate. Okay, then now we are coming to most important aspects, which is important in the exam from this Solentrata. That is a always favorable question from, just like from the sponges we have canal system is the favorable question. So from Solentrata also there is another favorable question. So what is that favorable question? Let's go to that now. Now here, Solentrata. Okay, Solentrata, they will exhibit two forms. Solentrata exhibit the two forms, FORMS forms. Two forms are there. One is called as, one type of form is called as the polyp, and another type of form is called as our medusa. Okay. One type of form is called as our this is called the polyform, and other type of form is called as medusa. Okay, what is the polyform? Okay. Medusa, now here they say that the uh, polyform, the organisms are attached. Okay, organisms are attached to a substratum, to a substratum. That's why they are sessile. Sessile. Example, we can say the hydra. Hydra. Now, if you look at body of the hydra, it will remain attached to the rocks. Okay, it will remain attached here to the rocks. Okay, this is the hydra, we can say, and here it is the substratum. Substratum, it is attached, and they don't move, and that's why this is called the sessile form. And medusa, so here organisms are free swimming. Organisms are free swimming. Okay, they are not attached. They are not attached to the substratum, they are free swimming. An example, we can say that, okay, example, we can say that our Aurelia. Example will be Aurelia. Aurelia, if you look at the structure of the Aurelia. Okay, Aurelia, if you look at the example. Okay, they are the free swimming. Okay, they will exhibit the free swimming species. This is called as Aurelia. Okay, this is the Aurelia. They will free swim in marine water. Okay, so the Solentrata exhibit the two types of forms. One sessile form called the polyp, and free swimming form is called as medusa. Okay, in the polyp form, organisms are attached to a substratum. Example, in the hydra, they are also called as the sessile form also. And in medusa, organisms are free swimming. They don't attach to a substratum. So these are the two different forms of the Solentrata. An example of the medusa is Aurelia. Now, this is a favorable question they ask in the exam. What are the two forms of the Solentrata? And define each form. So Solentrata always appears in the two form. One is sessile, one is medusa. Sessile and also the free swimming form. Sessile form is called as a polyp, and the free swimming form is called as medusa. Okay. Then after that we go to Aurelia, or this is if you don't understand Aurelia, you can write in the exam jellyfish. Okay, you can write the jellyfish, or also if you don't remember Aurelia, right? Okay. Now, uh, mm, mm. now both form exhibit alternation of generation. These two forms, polyp form and medusa form, they will exhibit what? They will exhibit alternation of generation. Alternation of the generation. They will exhibit. Both the form exhibit what? They will exhibit the alternation of generation. Alternation of generation means polyp, it can produce. It can produce, or if I write here now, okay, it's over now, no? So I write here, what is alternation of generation? Alternation of generation is here. Polyp will produce medusa. Okay, polyp will produce medusa. Medusa asexually. Asexual. Okay. asexually, and medusa will produce the polyp. This will produce the polyp, okay, sexually. Sexually. Okay. This is called as alternation of generation. And this can be seen, alternation of generation can be seen in one of the Solentrata called as Obelia. In Obelia, we can find the alternation of generation. Alternation of generation means that both the two form, polyp and medusa, they will alter, they will produce the opposite organism. Example, we can say the polyp, they will produce the medusa asexually, and medusa will produce the polyp sexually, and this kind of the production of different forms is called as the alternation of generation, and this is shown by the Solentrata obelia. Okay, it's very important question here. So now, okay, then we go to the next phylum. We go to the Ctenophora. Next phylum, we go to the Ctenophora. Okay, Ctenophora. Okay, here. Now we go to the Ctenophora. This is the next phylum we are going to Ctenophora. Okay, phylum Ctenophora. So here, Ctenophora are called as commonly known as the sea walnuts. They are called as sea walnuts because their shapes are just like the walnuts, or they are also called as the comb jelly. They are called as comb jelly. If you look at that structure of them, okay, they will be exhibiting the structures like this. Okay. Okay. They have a structure like this. Okay. This is one of the Ctenophora known as Pleurobrachia. This is called as the Pleurobrachia. Okay, Pleurobrachia. Now, Ctenophora, they are marine, exclusively marine. Okay. Ctenophora, we can say that they are marine. They are exclusively marine. They are found in the seawater. Okay, habitat is marine. They are found in the seawater. And the symmetry will be radial symmetry. You see, if you cut it from the center, you get the same kind of symmetry. Every piece of the cut portion will have the same kind of organ. Or they have radial symmetry. They have the radial symmetry. Okay, this you have to remember that radial symmetry, and they are also diploblastic. They are diploblastic means what? What do you mean by diploblastic? Diploblastic means they have the ectoderm and endoderm, these two layers during embryonic development, ectoderm and endoderm. Okay, and the body they have the tissue level of organization. They have the tissue level of organization. Tissue level of organization. Organization, and the body bear the external rows of the comb plates. They are called as the comb plates. Body bears external rows of the ciliated comb plates. These comb plates have the cilia. Okay, so we can say that body externally bear what? Externally bear ciliated comb plates. Externally bear ciliated comb plates. Okay, whole body bear externally it bear the ciliated comb plates, and digestion, and this complex help in what? This will help in which? Help in locomotion. Okay, this will help in locomotion. It's complex. This will help in locomotion or movement. Okay, locomotion or movement in seawater. Movement in the seawater, right? And digestion is again both extracellular and intracellular. Digestion takes place inside the body cavity, inside the gastrointestinal cavity, or they don't have such kind of digestive system. Just it takes place inside the cavity, since they are diploblastic. And the digestion is the intracellular also. It can take place inside the cell. So we can write here digestion. Okay, digestion is extracellular and intracellular both, and intracellular. Okay, intracellular that we have already done. And they have the bioluminescence. This is one of the important question now. They have the bioluminescence. The bioluminescence organs are there. Okay, bioluminescence is the phenomenon where a living object produces a light. Okay, when living object like insect or any other organism produces the light, it is called the bioluminescence. So they also produce the light, and this is a very important character of the ctenophora. Okay, and sexes are not separate here. That is, they are hermaphrodite. Okay, they are hermaphrodite because the sexes are not separate. They are hermaphrodite. Okay, that means sexes are not separate. Okay, then reproduction takes place only by asexual means. Oh, sorry, reproduction takes place by sexual means, and fertilization is external with the indirect development. Okay, reproduction by sexual method. Next character will be our character number 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Character number 9. Okay, reproduction by sexual methods. Reproduction is by sexual methods. Okay, methods. And fertilization is external. Fertilization is external. Okay, fertilization is external. Fertilization is external, and with indirect development. With indirect development. Indirect development. Indirect development means they will produce the larval stages. Okay, and example will be our Tinoplana. Example we can give here. Tinoplana. C will be silenced. So Tinoplana. And also we have shown in diagram, that is our pleurobrachia. Okay, pleurobrachia. So ctenophora is now very easy to learn here. Ctenophora, just we have shown you the diagram also. They are marine. They have radial symmetry. Radial symmetry means if we cut them from the center in any plan, all plan will have the same kind of structure, that is called as our radial symmetry. And diploblastic, they have the 2 layers of the tissue, that is ectoderm and endoderm in the embryonic stage, and they have the tissue level of organization. All the cells will combine to form the different kind of tissues, because these tissues perform the specific functions. And body externally bears ciliated comb-like structure. We have shown you the structure like this, ciliated comb-like structures, and these structures help in the movement of the ctenophora in water. Okay, and digestion is here extracellular. Extracellular means it can take place in the body cavity, and intracellular also, the digestion takes place inside the cell. Most of the invertebrates we have found till now digestion is some of them intracellular inside the cell, and some of the extracellular. Means that means what? That means they do not have a particular digestive system. Like we have the mouth, then we have the pharynx, then intestine. All these they don't have such an organized digestive system. That's why digestion takes place either inside the cell or in the cavity of the body with help of certain enzymes secreted by the cells. Okay, then they show the bioluminescence. Bioluminescence means they will produce the light. Okay, they will produce the light in the seawater. The ctenophora. That's very interesting phenomenon, interesting character of the ctenophora. Okay, and they are hermaphrodite, means sexes are not separate. Male and female sexes are in the same organism, and reproduction is by the sexual methods. There, sexual methods means it will be either by the fertilization and the formation of gametes, and the fertilization is external, and the development is indirect. Okay, example, we already know that. Then after that, we have the two classes of the animals. They are mostly parasites. They are, one is our platyhelminths and one is our aschelminths. Okay, that means next phylum will be platyhelminths and aschelminths. Now, so our next phylum will be the platyhelminths. The next phylum will be our next phylum. We go to the platyhelminths. Platyhelminths. Okay, this is called as platyhelminths. Now, platyhelminths are parasites. Parasites, you see, what are parasites? Parasites are those kind of animals which live on the body of an organism or inside the body of an organism, and they absorb already digested food products in their body. That's why the parasites, they do not require the organ system, like the digestive system, they don't require, because they already absorb the food material stored in the host in which they are living. Okay, and they don't have some of the other organs also, like we can say that okay, and if these like we can say the liver, or we can say the pancreas, all these organs are absent in them because they don't require the digestion of food. Already digested food products they will absorb in their body. Okay, platyhelminths now, it's like we can say the tapeworm we can find, and the liver fluid we can find. You see if you look at the tapeworms, no, these are the tapeworms. Okay, tapeworms are there. Okay, these are the tapeworms. This is called as a tapeworm, or the scientific name is Tinea solium. Tinea solium. It is found in the tapeworms are found in the body of the pig and the sheep. Okay, then we have the flatworm. Flatworm is called as our liver fluid. This is called as the structure we can find. This structure is called as the liver fluid. Okay. This is called as our liver fluid, or fasciola hepatica. Okay, fasciola. This is called as, these two are the parasite most common form of the platyhelminths. Platyhelminths, there are most of them are parasites. So see here, first character, if you look at the body, you find that body is dorsoventrally flattened. Dorsal side and dorsal upper side of the body, and ventral means lower side of the, both the upper and lower, or the dorsal upper side is called a dorsal side, and lower side is called the ventral side. So both the dorsal and ventral side are flattened. All the platyhelminths have a dorsoventrally flattened body, hence they are called as flatworm. Okay, and so here you see character number 1 is there. Number 1, they are dorso-ventrally flattened. Dorso-ventrally flattened. So we don't go here the habitat because they are marine. Sorry, they don't require habitat because they are the parasites. They live inside the body of the host. Okay, so habitat is inside the body of the host. You can well understand that dorso-ventrally flattened body. Hence the name flatworm. Okay, and the name we have the flatworms. And the name flatworms. Second one is that they are endoparasites. All of them are endoparasites. Endoparasites means endoparasites in okay animals, including human being also, including human beings. Okay, human beings. Okay, they live inside the body of an animal or human being. That's why they are called as the endoparasites. If they live outside the body, then they are called as ectoparasites. But here they are not ectoparasites, they are endoparasites because they live inside the body of an animal, including human beings. Okay, now if you go to the symmetry, they are bilaterally symmetrical. Okay, bilaterally symmetrical. That means if you cut the body of a flatworm, we cut it here. You see two portions. This is portion 1 and portion 2 have the same organ system. They have the same kind of organ we'll get. That's why they are bilaterally symmetrical, and they are triploblastic. Okay, number 4 is that they are triploblastic. Triploblastic, that means they have the 3 layers. They have the ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. Triploblastic, and they are acoelomate. Acoelomate, why? Because they don't require any organ system. That's why the you can say body cavity or coelom is absent in them because they are, all of them are endoparasites. So they don't require any organ system as such. Okay, then they have organ level of organization. Level of organization will be not the cellular, not the tissue level. They have the organ level. Okay, organ level of organization. They have the organ level of organization. And if you go to that in the mouth, their hooks and suckers are present in the parasitic form. Those kind of the platyhelminths which are parasite, they have hooks and suckers. With that, they can attach to the intestine of the host. So, they have hooks and suckers. Hooks and suckers in the mouth. In the mouth, in the parasitic form. In the parasitic form. So they have hooks and suckers in case of parasitic form. With this, they can attach to the intestine. This is the human intestine. This is human intestine. So here, with the hooks and sucker, they will remain attached. Okay, this is the intestine. Suppose this is the intestine. So here, if you draw them, okay, they can attach with the hooks and suckers like that. Okay, this is the worm, no? So they can attach here with the hooks and suckers, right? So that's why the hooks and suckers are there. Okay. So then we have the parasitic form, and some of them absorb nutrient from the host directly through the body surface. Some of them they can absorb the nutrients directly through the body surface, and they have a specialized cell called as phlegm cell, which help which help in osmoregulation and excretion. Okay, so they have the uh, flame cell. They have the present of the flame cell. They have the present of the flame cell. Cells are there which help in osmoregulation, which help in excretion and osmoregulation. Osmoregulation, which help in excretion. So they have a specialized cell called as the flame cell, which help in osmoregulation and excretion. And sexes are not separate. That means here they are hermaphrodite. Sexes are not separate. That means they are hermaphrodite. Okay, hermaphrodite. And fertilization is internal. Development is through the many larval stages. Okay, fertilization is internal. Okay, this is the peculiar thing here. The internal fertilization has started now from this phylum. So fertilization is internal, and larval stages. Larval stages are many. Larval stages are many. Okay, and they have some of the member have high regeneration capacity. Some of them can regenerate. Some of them can regenerate. Regenerate means they can grow again. If you cut a piece of the planaria is a flatworm. Some members like the planaria, they possesses high regeneration capacity. Okay, like example, we can say the planaria. Okay, planaria. P-L-A-N-A-R-I-A. Planaria, they have the high regeneration capacity. So, with the phylum Platyhelminths, we are going to complete today's class, students. If any question you have, you can ask me. Hello? Hello, student. Any question you have?